You know, the first few weeks of January are always slow ones because everyone's still picking the bits of candy cane out of their teeth and chasing the last few New Year's partygoers out of the kitchen cupboards, but it's a waste of energy getting frustrated at the release schedule. If it's decided it's on a break, let's do the same and just have a super casual time talking about whatever games we're playing without fretting about silly things like being relevant or funny or interesting or getting to the bathroom before I piss my pants. So here goes. Hi, I'm Yahtzee Crowshaw, super casual game reviewer. What's that, games industry? No new games of interest? That's cool. We're all super cash here. Have a fun-sized Twix. Yeah, so I finally finished Celeste this week. I've been playing it super cash style for about an hour every 3 months, and yeah, it certainly is a game. It was okay. I don't know, the way people were banging on about it all year, I was expecting it to fire streamers and ticker tape out of its nipples. Is this like the Senua's Sacrifice thing, where the main character has a mental illness and therefore it's a masterpiece, and if you think otherwise you're Hitler? Oh, you are Hitler? Well, that's cool. I'm super cash. Have a Twix. Hey! And over Christmas I did a super cash stream of Katamari Damacy Reroll, the re-release of the original PS2 game that recently came out in a super cash kind of way, and what surprised me was how many young people in the stream chat pulled out their pacifiers and mentioned they'd never heard of Katamari Damacy before, which I suppose is the result of an industry getting a bit too super cash about archiving its history and just letting things drop out of memory like milk bottles from a poorly supervised factory production line. If you can only preserve one thing, preserve the fucking PS2 era, for God's sake, when the big developers could still indulge out their ideas before the industry was infected with a terminal case of big money and turned itself over to exclusively making milking machines that they can't even be bothered to paint in interesting colours. Come on, Yahtzee, super cash, remember? Eat the Twix. Oh, alright. Hey, let's retro review. Katamari Damacy was a quirky Japanese game from 2004, and there's no quirk like Japanese quirk. Gosh, the Japanese are quirky, aren't they? Just look up Unit 731. Even Japan's atrocities are quirky. Hey, that's not where a human arm goes. Anyway, Katamari Damacy is about the king of all cosmos, a very serious-faced man with a Swiss roll for a head and a fondness for unsettlingly tight leggings, getting a little bit too super cash one day and destroying all the stars in the cosmos. Fortunately, this can be remedied because the king can create new stars from clumped-together balls of random quirky bullshit. And double fortunately, today just happens to be random quirky bullshit clearing out day down on Earth and everyone's fucking ankle deep in the stuff. So the king's son, the prince of all cosmos, has to come down and steal all the random quirky bullshit using a magic sticky ball that can suck up anything smaller than it. Yeah, I've got some magic sticky balls for you. Katamari Damacy's greatness lies in the simplicity of its concept and the unrivaled catharsis in its execution. You start off with pathetic, laughable sticky balls that can just about pick up drawing pins and which get gleefully batted about by the cats that patrol the living room, but then a few minutes later, after you're done hoovering up the garden furniture, you come back and there's something very rewarding about seeing an exclamation mark appear above the head of a cat that once bullied you. I see you remember me, Mr. Whiskers. After all, what good are sticky balls if you can't crush pussy? Shortly, things get completely out of hand and you move on to rolling up people, then cars, then buildings, and eventually continents and Godzillas. Presumably an awful lot of people die horribly when those Katamaris get turned into stars, but hey, there's nothing quite so super cash as a few consequence-free murders. Boy, Yahtzee, you sure have opinions on Katamari Damacy. You must have played this a lot back in the day. You might want to put tea strainers over your ears, listener, because this will blow your mind. I'd never played Katamari Damacy before. The one I played a lot of was We Love Katamari, the sequel, but it runs on the same engine and plays identically. It was doing the Hand of Fate 2 thing, same game but with more stuff, which is fine, but it does render the original obsolete, and that makes me question Reroll's decision to only re-release the first game. I know precisely why they didn't do We Love Katamari instead. It's because the plot of We Love Katamari is literally, let's make a sequel to Katamari Damacy. It's all very self-referential and ooh, quirky Japanese Unit 731 and anaesthetized live vivisection, etc. But it does mean that We Love Katamari doesn't really work by itself. Still, they could have easily remade both the games into one package like they did with Crash Bandicoot and Spyro and those people in the Human Centipede. Playing the first Katamari Damacy alone, I feel disappointed by its comparatively slim variety of levels and gameplay modes, and I think it suffers from being a bit over-generous with the time limits. On one late game level, I'll have sucked up the entire fucking town into my sticky balls and still have about 3 minutes to roll around the empty valley looking for every last remaining brick and dustbin and thinking up even more oblique ways to talk about my testicles. The time limits in We Love Katamari are a lot tighter, and even if you pass, the king of all cosmos will talk shit about the size of your sticky balls if you show up with anything that wouldn't immediately silence all conversation in the men's locker room, which is good because challenge is important for catharsis. The success of victory is all the sweeter when there's a clear and looming presence of failure. That's why it's important to have a few ugly bridesmaids at a wedding. Katamari is quite challenging on the base level because you control your sticky ball in the same sense one controls an overloaded shopping trolley with one dodgy wheel around a car park. See, that's what I didn't get out of Donut County. That's right, it's a Donut County review now. That's the kind of thing that happens in super cash videos. Donut County was an indie game from last year that had a similar vibe to Katamari, except instead of a big sticky ball which gets bigger as things attach to it, like what makes sense, you get a hole that moves around and gets bigger as more things fall in it. And how does that work, Donut County? Does every single loose object in this town carry a little pickaxe? Are we supposed to believe this is some kind of magic hole for wizards? Why is everyone stupider than me? In any case, amusing as it is to watch a cat fall down a hole with a stupid look on its face, after that the cat's gone. Whereas in Katamari, the cat's still there, stuck to the side of your ball, kicking its legs in fury, and you can continue continue taking the piss out of it, and that's why Katamari's better. Donut County has its merits, it's got a stronger story aspect, but it has no challenge, so it's a one-and-done 2-hour distraction, where Katamari's meatier gameplay and jaunty soundtrack makes it almost endlessly replayable. Besides, who'd want a hole when you can have sticky balls? Am I right, fellas? I'm very lonely.